Hey there, everybody. Welcome back, and it's time for some more baseball. We've got the Philadelphia Athletics here against the Boston Red Sox 1949 action underway for you. The Red Sox are 7-2, and the Athletics now 5-5. Here's Elmer Vallo coming up for the Athletics, takes a ball from Joe Dobson, and there's a liner over to Hitchcock at first base, makes the play, one away. Here's Eddie Juiced, and he takes the ball high, 1-0 now the count. And Dobson misses again, 2-0 now to Juiced. And there's a little ground ball over to Durer at second, makes the play over to Hitchcock at first, 2 away. Here comes Sam Chapman. He looks at a ball in there too close in the next pitch, and there's a little foul ball. 1-1 the count now. There's a ball high, 2-1 now. There's a strike from Joe, and it's 2-2. And Chapman fouls that one off, and then he hits one over to O'Brien in right field for the third out. And here comes the Red Sox, bottom of the first inning, and it's Ted Williams up there against Joe Coleman. Coleman not having the best of times so far this year. 1-1 is the count on Williams, who hits a ground ball over to Juiced, makes the play at first, 1 away. Here comes Vern Stevens, and there is a ball to Vern. And next pitch is up there, and that's a fastball high and tight for a ball, 2-0. There's one off the plate, 3-0 now, and Coleman misses one again, and Stevens is the runner on base, and here comes Bobby Durer. As I've said before, you don't want to walk anybody on this Red Sox team. 2-0 now, the count on Bobby. There's a ground ball up the middle, and there's a double play. Juiced does it himself, then flips over to first base, and Fain makes the catch for the double play, and we go to the top of the second inning. Remember that these Philadelphia Athletics are the best double play team in the history of baseball. Fain up there now, 3-0 the count on him. And there's a fastball in there for a strike, 3-1 now. There's a little ground ball over to Stevens at short, and he makes the play at first, 1 away. Here comes Wally Moses. And there's a pitch in there, but it's just apparently a little bit low. And then there's a ground ball over there to Stevens at short, and he makes the play at first, 2 away. And here comes Hank Majewski. There's a little pop-up over to Hitchcock at first, and he makes the play, and we go to the bottom of the second inning. Dom DiMaggio, as we saw just yesterday when I filmed that, he is the leading hitter in the major leagues, and he has a double here, 10-game hitting streak for Dom DiMaggio. That's right, the other DiMaggio, and he is now hitting 500 on the season. He has 19 hits and 38 at-bats, and this is an impressive season for DiMaggio so far. Not that DiMaggio, but the other one, the one with the glasses. There's Johnny Pesky up there now. It's a ground ball over to Juice to short, and he's unable to get DiMaggio over to third base, and there's one away now. Poor play by Johnny. And here comes Bertie Tebbetts. We're starting Tebbetts today, not Matt Batts, and you know that I like Matt Batts. 2-1 now the count on Bertie. And there's a ground ball again to Juice. This time, DiMaggio moves to third. Runner on third base now with Tommy O'Brien up there. No score, and they're going to walk O'Brien intentionally. Interesting strategy to pitch to Billy Hitchcock. Well, Hitchcock is hitting 0.59, well below the Mendoza line, and it's a 1-1 pitch count now on Hitchcock, and Coleman misses. 2-1 the count. That one's outside and low, 3-1. And Billy swings and misses at that one. I should have told him to take the pitch. Full count now. And with the full count, Billy strikes out swinging, and nothing happens there in the bottom of the second. We go to the top of the third. Here's Pete Suter. And there's a little ground ball over to the bag at second. Stevens makes the play over to first, throws over to Hitchcock for the out, 1 away. And Mike Guerra now up there, and he gets a base hit that falls right in front of Dom DiMaggio in center field, and he's the runner on at first base. So 1 hit in the ballgame for each team. You thought we were playing 1949. This looks a little bit more like 1908, doesn't it? 1-1 the count now on Joe Coleman. And there's a little bunt over there to Dobson, and Tebbett screams at him to go to first base with it. They let Guerra move up to second with 2 outs, and we have Elmer Vallo back up there now. 2-0 now the count on him. There's a strike by Dobson, 2-1. And there's a curveball that stays just high, 3-1 now the count. And there is a swing and a miss, full count now. And there's a ground ball to Stevens at short, and he lobs it to first base, and that does that. We go to the bottom of the third, still no score. Here's Joe Dobson. Then under the hands, ball 1 to Joe. There's another one that's high and tight, 2-0 now the count of Dobson. There's a little chopper, and this one is over Coleman's head, and nobody can get to it in time, and that's a base hit for the pitcher. And that's one of those sort of Baltimore chop-type base hits that he didn't hit the ball hard, but he hit it hard enough. Here comes Ted Williams now, runner on first base. Williams hitting .457, hitting the lights out so far, and nobody can pitch to Ted, of course. And what does he do? He hits the little ground ball over to Suter, goes to Juice for 1, over to Fain for the second, double play. And that's the double play that this Athletics defense is so good at putting on. And that brings up Vern Stevens, hits a ground ball over to third base, and Hank Majewski makes the throw to first. And that does that. We go to the top of the fourth. Still no score, nothing happening. Eddie Juiced up there now, 2-1 the count on him. And he chases 1 wide, 2-2. There is a ball that goes deep to left field, and it's over Williams' head, and that is gone for a home run for Eddie Juice. First home run of the ball game. Eddie Juice has his 6th of the year, which puts him tied for the lead in all of the major leagues with none other than Ralph Kiner. And it's 1-0 now Athletics, and this is not entirely what I was expecting from this one. How about that? We've had a pitcher's duel here so far, and Dobson makes a single mistake here to Juiced, and he really, really suffers for it. And now it's a 1-0 ball game with Sam Chapman coming up, top of the 4th inning now, nobody out, and he takes a strike. And there's one low, 1-1 now the count. And there's a little shot over there to center field, and DiMaggio can't get there quite in time, and he's got a base hit. And so Chapman's the runner on first base. Fain looking to bunt. Ferris Fain hitting only 176 on the season. I should have probably taken a closer look at that when I made up the lineup. He bunts one foul and then takes a ball. 1-1 now the pitch. It's 2-1 now on Fain. And he pops one up there. They took the bunt off, and that's popped up to Bobby Doerr at second base. 1 out now, top of the 4th inning. 1-0 Athletics. And the count now on Wally Moses is 1-1, and that actually was for a wild pitch. I took my eye off of that one. Tebbets, it looked like Tebbets got behind that one to prevent the advancement, but it ended up bouncing off his chest protector, rolling over towards the dugout, and by the time he got to it, Chapman moved up to second base. And so we have 1 out now, still 1-1 the count. And there is a ground ball over to Doerr, who makes an excellent play at second base and throws just over in time to first base to make the out. And Chapman moves up to third, and up comes Hank Majeski. Runner on third base, 2 outs now for the Athletics, 1-0 Philadelphia, and he fouls one back, and it's 0-2 on Hank. Dobson misses with 1-1-2 now the count. A little ground ball over to the hole on short. Stevens goes over and gets it, throws over to first base in one smooth motion, and that does that. Bottom of the 4th now. Here's Bobby Doerr, and the count on Bobby is 1-1, and he's hit that one off a line to center field, and that ends up going off the glove of Sam Chapman in center for an error, and Bobby's going to be the runner at first base, and here comes Dom DiMaggio. DiMaggio, it tells me here, is hitting .563 against the Philadelphia Athletics so far this season. He's hitting very, very well. 2-1 now the count on Dom. And it's 2-2 on him now as he fouls that one back. He takes one high, and it's full count now on him. There's a little one chopped over to shortstop. It ends up being actually fielded by Majeski there, who throws over to first base for the out. Doerr moves up to second base, and there's 1 out now. And here comes Johnny Pesky. There's a ball that looks like he gets away from the catcher, but not quite enough for an advancement. 2-0 now is the count on Johnny, and now it's 2-1 as he looks at a strike. There's one foul back, 2-2 now the count, and Pesky takes that one for a ball, full count now, and fouls one off. And there's one that's hit just foul beyond the first base line and goes just out of play. Fain not able to get to that one. And there's a little high pop-up over to the left side. Majeski makes the catch, 2 away now, and here comes Birdie Tebbets. Tebbets hitting .308 this season, takes a ball, 2-0 now the count on Birdie. And there's a fastball in there for a strike, 2-1 now. And that's ankle high slider that Tebbets doesn't chase after, ball 3, 3-1 the count. That one's fouled off of the shin guards of the catcher. Full count now, and they got him. Coleman got him with a fastball in the outside corner. And we go to the top of the 5th inning, still 1-0 Athletics. The Red Sox have had their chances, and Suter comes up there and lines one over to O'Brien in right field. O'Brien probably had a play on that one, lets the ball drop, though, and is a base hit. 4th hit of the game for the Athletics, and Suter is the runner at first. 1-0 now the pitch on Mike Guerrero. It's 1-1. Guerrero was bunting, and there's a line drive that goes off the glove of Doerr, and it winds up in right field again, and Suter doesn't even think about slowing down. He goes all the way to third base on that one, and here comes Joe Coleman. We're going to put the corners in here, look for 2 in the middle, and see if Coleman bunts. 1-1 now the count on Joe, and that he crossed the plane there, 1-2, and there's a ball up and in, 2-2 now the count. There's a ground ball to shortstop. Did we go for the double play, or did we go home? I think we go for the double play. Let me know what you would do, and we get the double play, and that ends up being perhaps a key moment in this ballgame. We'll see. You never know if you're going to make the play at home, but I was thinking that we might want to look for the double play if we had the opportunity. It's just always tricky when the game actually gives you that opportunity, and you ask yourself, well, what do I do here? Do I actually go for the double play, or what happens? And one of the reasons why we actually had the infield in is because we had the pitcher up to bat, and I would have thought that they would have bunted with Coleman, but instead they swung away. Nobody on now, 2 outs, and there's a little ground ball to second base, and Bobby Doerr makes that play over to first, and that does it. And we go to the bottom of the fifth inning now, 2-0 Athletics. And here's Tommy O'Brien again, hitting 300 this season from that number 7 hole. 0-2 is now the count on O'Brien. 1-2. Takes that for a ball. 2-2. And there's one high, full count now on Tommy. There's a backdoor breaking ball, and it has him looking, and Coleman gets the strikeout. Third strikeout of the game for Joe Coleman against 2 walks. And here's Billy Hitchcock. He takes the ball, and there's a little bouncer over to Juiced on the left side, and there's 2 away just like that. Here's Joe Dobson now, and he hits one over to Wally Moses in right field, and that does it. We go to the top of the 6th inning. This is one of the fastest games I think we've played so far this year. Eddie Juiced now. 2-0 the count on Juiced, and he hits one over to right center field. O'Brien there in right field's got it for the out. 1 away. Here's Sam Chapman. And there's a base hit over to center field once again to Dom DiMaggio, and that's hit number 6 for the Athletics in this game. Joe Dobson not really surprising anybody on this one. 1-1 now is the count on Ferris Fain. And there's a ball for 2-1 count now on Ferris, and he takes one low, 3-1. That's low and away, and that's the first walk of the game given up by Joe Dobson, and that brings up Wally Moses. Dobson pitching actually fairly well, just giving up a bunch of base hits is all on the 1 home run. And 2-0 is the count now on Wally. And it's 3-0, and now we're starting to fall apart. And there's a strike, 3-1. And there's a swing and a miss for another strike, full count now. And there's a ground ball over to Dewar at the middle. Goes over to Stevens, and they throw over to first base to double him up, and that ends the inning, and that's what we were looking for. That's just what the doctor ordered. To go to the bottom of the 6th inning now. Red Sox only with 2 hits so far in this ballgame. We're trailing 2-0. Here's Ted Williams. There's one foul back. 0-1 is the count on Williams, and he takes the ball 1-1, the count on him now. Backs off from an inside fastball, 2-1, and fouls that one off, 2-2. And full count now as he didn't chase after that high one. Williams fouls one off and gets the walk, and he worked for that walk, and he's the runner at first base now after leading off the top of the 6th, and here comes Vern Stevens. You don't want to walk any of the Red Sox because of what this offense can do. 2-0 now is the count on Vern, and he hits one to center field reasonably hard, it says, but right at Chapman, and that's the first out. And here's Bobby Dewar now. Watch out for that double play. There's a foul over into the corner, 0-1. Another foul ball, 0-2 on Bobby. And Boyd Coleman comes inside with that pitch, gets the call for the 4th strikeout he's gotten so far this game. Here comes Dom DiMaggio now, 1 for 2 so far today with the walk and with the big double. 1-0 now the count on DiMaggio. And he pulls one into left field, and that's an out over and caught by Vallo. And we go to the top of the 7th inning, and the Red Sox have no offense today. 1-0 is the count on Hank Majeski. Now it's 1-1. Now it's 2-1 as Dobson misses once again. He misses high again. 3-1 now is the count. And there's one that hits that corner for a full count, but Dobson's been playing with fire, and it burns him this time as Hank Majeski gets a home run to left field once again over the head of Ted Williams and over that green monster. And the score now is Philadelphia 3 and Boston 0 after that home run from Hank Majeski. And I told you that Dobson was playing with fire, and I thought that maybe he was going to get away with it, and he was going to get out of this after he was able to come back after that 3-1 count, and instead he ends up giving up the dinger. And now we go to Pete Suter now here. Nobody out in the top of the 7th inning, and 1-2 is the count on Suter. There's a little ground ball over to Bobby Dewar, makes the play at first base, 1 out. This Red Sox offense has been held in check so far today, 3-0 Athletics. There's Mike Guerra now, 1-1 is the count on him. There's a breaking ball high and outside, 2-1, and that's 3-1 as Dobson misses again low this time, and that one's way off the plate. And there's a walk, second walk of the game for Joe, as opposed to 0 strikeouts, and that ratio is not looking so good here today. Coleman fouls two pitches off in a row. 0-2 is the count on him, and he swings and misses on that one. Looks really bad. That's the first strikeout of the game for Joe. And here we are with Elmer Vallo again, and the count is 2-0 on Vallo, and he looks at a strike, 2-1 now. And Dobson misses high, and it's 3-1. There's a line drive foul down the right field line, and a fastball foul back. And there's a check swing, and Vallo just able to stay alive with that. And there is ball 4 low and outside, and so they worked that walk off of Joe Dobson, the third walk of the game given up by him. He's been playing with fire all game long, and there's a ground ball over to Bobby Dewar at second base, makes the play at first, and that ends that threat for the Athletics. But they get the home run, 3-0 Philadelphia, bottom of the 7th inning, and the time is running out for Boston. Here's Johnny Pesky. And the count on Pesky is 1-1 now, and he hits one over to Chapman in center field. He doesn't even have to move for that one. There's one out just like that. Here's Bertie Tebbets now, 1-1 the count on him, and he takes a slider low, 2-1 now. And it's 2-2 now, and there's a fastball inside that knocks Ferris out of the way. And there was a fastball that was around the knees, and that's called for ball 4, and that's a 1949 call. I'll tell you what, and that's the 4th walk given up by Coleman. Here comes O'Brien. If you think I'm stealing with Tebbets, you're nuts. And, of course, what happens is he gets the ground ball straight away right back to Coleman, goes to second for 1 and to first again for a double play. And if I counted right, that's the 3rd one that the Athletics have run this game. Here comes Sam Chapman, and the count on him quickly is 0-1 as he fouls the first pitch off. And we're going to grab a little bit of this fun play-by-play that shows up. I tell you, Diamond Mine Baseball never ceases to amaze with the interesting and colorful play-by-play. You never know where you're going to get when you play this game. Top of the 8th inning now, and it's an 0-2 count on Sam Chapman. 3-0 Athletics so far, 1-2. And there's one that fell low, 2-2. And there's a little chopper over to Hitchcock at first, makes a play himself, 1 away. Here's Ferris Fain. Inside fastball gets away for a ball, 1-0 the count. And there's one on the strike zone, 1-1. He chases a pitch down and in, 1-2 is now the count. And he fouls one off, and there's a little pop up over to Hitchcock at first base for the second out. And here's Wally Moses, and he takes a ball, 1-0. And there's a strike, 1-1 now is the count on him. There's a breaking ball inside, 1-2. And it's 2-2 now on Wally, and he hammers one foul outside of first base, and there's one high, full count, and that goes inside on him, but he just fouls it away, fouls another one off, and this is Diamond Mine Baseball giving you the epic at bat, and Joe Dobson walks him. 4th walk of the game issued by Joe Dobson, and here is Hank Majeski, who had that home run, and if he gets a hold of another one, as the count is 2-0, if he gets a hold of another one, this game is all but over. Majeski fouls one back, 2-1 now. And there's another one fouled straight back, 2-2. Dobson's come back on this one, and there's another pitch spoiled. There's a blooper down the left field line where Williams just can't get over to it, and Majeski is aboard with a base hit. Wally Moses goes to third base on that one, and here's Pete Sutter. We are going to stick with the pitcher Dobson here, but that pitch count is getting high. There's a little ground ball over to Pesky at third, makes the play at first base for the out, and Dobson's coming up this inning, and he's not going to bat for himself, I'll tell you that, no matter what happens. 2-0 is the count on Billy Hitchcock, and Hitchcock, that on-base percentage is just sinking, and here comes Dobson's place in the position in the batting order. Of course, like I said, we're not going to have him hit for himself. Instead, we are going to put Matt Babs up there, and we'll have... I think Babe Martin's going to be the catcher in case we need him. So here comes Bats, the pinch hitter, who is a good pinch hitter, 3 for 9 so far this season, hitting .333, 1-1 the count on him. Low and inside, and there's a 2-1 count now on Bats, 2-2 now. And there's one line to first base, but Ferris Fain is there for the out, and that's 2 outs here, bottom of the 8th inning. Comes Ted Williams now, and that is lined straight through, juiced at shortstop for a base hit. Williams now 1 for 3 on the day, and that's the sort of play, I guess, that separates the great hitters from the only marginally good hitters. 1-0 now the count on Stevens, of course. I mean, single does very, very little here for you. Stevens gets the ground ball over to Juice, who makes the play over to second base for the out, and that does that. And we are up to put in a pinch or a relief pitcher for the Red Sox here, and we are going to put Jack Robinson in. Not that Jack Robinson, but the pitcher Jack Robinson. And he will pitch here in the top of the 9th inning for the Red Sox against the Athletics as Mike Guerra is up there. 2-0 now is the count on Guerra. And it's 2-1 now as he fouls one over to the right side, and he ends up pulling a ground ball through the hole on the right side for a base hit, and that is his 3rd hit of the ballgame, 3 for 3 for Guerrera today. Here's Joe Coleman hitting for himself, and that means he's going for that complete game. He ends up bunting, and that one's a little bunt over to Pesky, who makes the play at first base for the out, and there's one away now, runner on second base. And Robinson rewards all of us by throwing a pitch right by the catcher, Bertie Tebbets, and Guerra is able to move over to third base on that one. Elmer Vallo up here at the plate and has a 3-0 count on him, and he's taking all the way, and he's now taking a stroll down to first base. And that's the second walk of the year given up by Robinson, and boy, I don't know if I like what's happening here. There's ball 1 to Eddie Juiced, and he rips a hard ground ball to third base and goes to Dewar for 1, Pesky with it, and he ends up throwing that into right field, which allows the run to score, and it is 4-0 now, and we only have 1 out here in the top of the 9th inning. And I think I'm actually going to take Robinson out of this game. I don't like what I'm seeing so far, and we're going to put Tex Houston in there instead, and see if he can get anybody out. 4-0 now, Athletics, and this is getting to be a little bit ugly. Here's Sam Chapman. The count on him is 0-1. Takes one for a ball, 1-1 the count. And there's a strike swing, 1-2. And boy, Tex is able to get him there with that slider low, get him swinging, and that's the second out. And here's Ferris Fain now. It's a little foul ball into the stands, 0-1 now the count. Now it's 1-1 on Fain. And he hits one over to Williams in left field right in front of that monster. He makes the catch, and we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. It's emergency time here for Boston. Here's Bobby Doerr there, takes a ball. Joe Coleman staying in there, going for that complete game. 1-1 now the count on Bobby. 2-1 now on him. 2-2. Coleman not having the best of games. About half of his pitches have been balls, but he gets them to swing at the ones he wants them to swing at. There's a ground ball to Majeski. Goes to first base for it. 1 out. Here's Dom DiMaggio, and it's a 1-0 count on him so far. And there's one below the letters, 1-1. 2-1 now on DiMaggio, and he takes the fastball for a ball, 3-1, and fouls one back, and it's a full count. And the count is still full, and that one is high. And DiMaggio able to take that one high for the walk, and that's walk number 5 given up by Coleman. That brings up Johnny Pesky, 1 out here, runner on first base, and the Red Sox are not very fast, and you know what this Athletics infield is like. 1-0 is the count on Johnny. Fouls one off, 1-1 now the count on him. And there's a fastball high, 2-1 now the count. And it's 3-1 as that one sort of skipped up and in there. And there's a little ground ball over to Sutter to second for 1 and on the first. And Johnny Pesky barely beats that one out. And there are 2 away now here in the bottom of the ninth inning. And this is it. 4-0 Athletics. Red Sox only with 3 hits in this ball game. 1-1 now the count on Birdie. And that's wide for a ball, 2-1 now. And there's a ball low, 3-1 now the count. And that one's fouled back, 3-2. And there's a shot to the left-hand side, and Eddie Juiced has snagged that one at shortstop for the out before it hits the ground. And there's your ball game. So Joe Coleman, despite giving up 4 walks, is only gives up 3 hits, scatters the Red Sox, and sort of ends that offensive challenge. Philadelphia ends up winning this ball game 4-0, just like that. And I hope that you enjoyed this one. Not the closest of games, but still, I think, enjoyable in its own right. And a number of home runs there for Philadelphia is what really broke this game open. I will talk to you again tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.